all these preppers and all these like survivalist type guys, like even only a small fraction of those guys could survive.
Yeah.
With their families, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have all these skills, but you have to be in the perfect scenario and situation without a community around you. And that's the thing, is you would have to find people with certain skill sets, right? And that's why I've always just tried to develop the skill set of like, hey, I can turn sewage into drinking water, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's probably a good skill set to have if anything ever went down.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure people would barter with that. Like, like, hey, I need some of your eggs or your chicken. I will provide you with clean drinking water for your family.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about that the other day. There was, it was like some old thought experiment from a military podcast that my dad used to listen to. And essentially the question was, you can have 8 people as the world like restarts into society event, whatever. You can pick like 8 people. Who do you take?
Okay.
And the dude that I heard give an answer to, his first one that he went with was I think it was a like herbologist.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're going with the boring picks. And this guy was like retired SEAL, whatever. He had thought about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it kind of got me thinking. I was like, if you can only have like 7, 8, 9, however many people, what are like the most necessary specializations?
I mean, if you want to simplify it, there are 4 essential jobs.
Okay.
All right. And it could be broken down as simple as this, right?
Uh-huh.
In order for society to actually happen, you need doctors or some sort of healthcare, farmers, fishermen, and I'd say plumbers, but people that know how to deal with water and make clean water.
Yeah.
You need food, water, and then obviously, like, if you want to go further, you need shelter and these things.
Yeah, like
but I'm pretty sure those guys could figure out how to make shelter.
Carpenter / stonemason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But those, when you break it down to like the 4 most essential jobs, you need food, water, and healthcare.
Right. Yeah.
Now, like the herbologist, I would consider that part of like the farming, right?
Yeah.
That kind of mindset is you need somebody that can grow stuff.
Right.
And you're going to need that for medicinal purposes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think somebody that specializes in the actual like farming side of it, and somebody that specializes in the gathering side of it, for those two is important. Because, like, your standard farmer is going to know a lot about seasonal stuff and when to plant what, where to plant it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they're probably not going to know much about, like, oh, this thing is poisonous and this thing is not. This thing has healing properties when it's boiled, like all that crap.
Well, and I also, like, in the fisherman category, I also consider that as, like, hunter-gatherer type of person, right? Like, like when I say those basic sort of positions, that encompasses more than just, hey, you're a fisherman, right? But you need somebody who knows how to fish. Like, that is a huge food source.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a skill.
Yeah,
fishing is 100% a skill.
Yeah, you would need somebody that's really good at that. Well, and the thing is, too,
because the hunter-gatherer aspect or the fisherman, that type of person, also provides security, right? You need somebody who can do that. So I mean, there are definitely multiple skill sets, but I envision, like, so when I say a plumber, like, that person could probably build a shelter because they work with their hands, right?
Yeah, and they're used to framing out stuff and all that, too. Yeah.
Now, doctor-wise, like, obviously, if it came down to that, you're not looking at Western medicine sort of doctors, where they can
No.
just prescribe pills for you.
Right, yeah.
You're looking for somebody who knows about, you know, healing properties of certain vegetation, like Eastern doctors.
Yeah, you would need somebody that's been. You would almost need like a third world type doctor.
Yes.
Because you need somebody that's also knowledgeable about like sanitation and stuff like that when you don't have all the modern advancements, you know?
Yeah, I had bought a book a few years ago, and it's called the Survival Medicine Handbook.
Okay.
It's actually fantastic. And I had brought it somewhere, and I have no idea what I did with it, but I need to get that book again, because as a resource for if you're ever in a situation, I mean, down to like, what do you do with a diabetic in that scenario?
yeah.
Like, it breaks everything down. It's really cool.
Huh.
You know, what I also, when I got that book, I got, you know, what plants are used for what medicine, and what plants could you actually eat, and it gives pictures so you're not sitting there guessing, right?
Right,
like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
walking around the woods and or in a field, and you're like, okay, I can get this. Because to be honest with you, to actually retain and keep that information without the resource, 99.9% of people are not going to be able to do that. That's something you would have to specialize in.
Right.
Or dedicate a large portion of your time to learning.
Yeah.
And actually going and doing. So, but pretty cool skill set to have. Now, I honestly, I used to like stress about all of that.
Yeah.
Like, end of the world, like,
Yeah.
oh, we gotta prep.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whatever.
Yeah, you can't live like that, man.
Nah, dude, you can't. That's
It's
a
just-
terrible way to live. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, you learn so much in going down that sort of rabbit hole,
Oh, yeah.
to the point where if you go far enough down it, you come out the other side and you don't care. You're like, all right, there's way too many scenarios to think about here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a heart attack before any of this actually occurs.
Right.
You
And
know?
then all of that information dies with me.
You know, because there's like, you know, you watch prepping channels, and it's like, you've got guys on like the East Coast stressed about like Yellowstone erupting, you know? And it's
Right.
like, oh, if the wind's exactly,
Right.
you know? I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, how do you sleep at night? You probably don't.
Probably don't, yeah. Yeah. I guess my whole thing with that is, like, you're doing all of this work to preserve your life, right? But what is your life really worth if you spend all day, every day prepping for the end of it?
Well, not only that, like, the end of it has already been written by God,
Yeah.
right? So you're trying to preserve your earthly life
Right.
when you should really be trying to save
It's not where your focus
your
should be.
eternal life,
Yeah.
right? Like who cares? This is only a blip in time.